invest in yourself, everyone gets the best of you.
All the tools, the latest technology, and the largest team of 5 meteorologists. News 12 First Alert Weather on your side. Closed captioning for News 12 is brought to you by Kenneth Nugent. From the station that's on your side, this is News 12 First at 5.
First, it was military housing at Fort Gordon. Now, Senator John Ossoff is putting a Georgia prison in the national spotlight. Today, he held a hearing on Capitol Hill looking into corruption, abuse, and misconduct at the state penitentiary in Atlanta. But first, just in the last 2 hours, Georgia abortion providers filed a lawsuit against Georgia's heartbeat law. It went into effect officially last Wednesday, but today's challenge argues Georgia's 6-week abortion ban was illegal from the start because it violated federal constitutional precedent when enacted back in 2019. The challenge is asking the state to immediately block the law while this new lawsuit plays out in court. We'll keep watching. Also, the lawsuit challenging South Carolina's 6-week ban on abortions is now moving to the state's Supreme Court. And today, a judge ruled that law will remain in place and enforceable for now, despite a request to suspend it. Our State House reporter Mary Green was in court for that ruling, and she explains what comes next in South Carolina.
This lawsuit from Planned Parenthood and other abortion providers claims the law that bans most abortions in South Carolina after around 6 weeks violates the state constitution. Now it'll be up to the South Carolina Supreme Court to determine if it'll take this case up, and if it does, when.
I've been on the bench of a court researcher. This is the most fundamentally important constitutional issue I can ever be raised by anybody at any time. And I don't make my decision without a great deal of thought.
With that, Judge Casey Manning transferred the case to the state Supreme Court and ruled the 6-week ban on abortion will remain in place in the meantime. The state of South Carolina requested to move the case, arguing it'll allow for the fastest resolution, that the Supreme Court should have the first right to hear what the state calls an unprecedented case, and that the matter is of, quote, vital and significant public importance.
From the state's perspective, we can think of few issues that are more important than protection of human life.
Lawyers for the abortion provider plaintiffs argue the law violates the guaranteed rights in the state constitution to privacy and equal protection. The state contends those guarantees don't protect abortions. Planned Parenthood called today's decision to keep the law in effect a, quote, failure to act to protect women.
Well, I don't think there's any way to describe this except utter disappointment. Every day that goes by without an injunction or a restraining order, there are harms to women in this state.
And as all of this is happening, the state legislature is likely to even further restrict South Carolina's abortion law in the coming months. A ruling on the legality of the 6-week ban could have implications on that legislation as well. Again, if the state Supreme Court takes it up. Reporting in Columbia, I'm Mary Green.
Governor Henry McMaster today called the decision to send the case to the Supreme Court, quote, a good decision. He says he believes the court will eventually decide to uphold the law. The DOJ, meanwhile, has launched a new website where victims can report violence, threats of violence, or even property damage related to seeking abortions. It also gives people a place to report discrimination or if they feel their health information privacy rights have been violated. This is the first official action by the Reproductive Rights Task Force. It was established earlier this month at the federal level in response to Roe v. Wade being overturned. Taking a look now at the Calhoun Expressway. Can't see a cloud in the sky.
This evening, have a look at that big warm-up heading our way the next few days in just about 10 minutes.
Okay, thank you, Riley. We now know the victim's identity for Augusta's newest homicide. The Richmond County Coroner's Office tells us 33-year-old Anthony Flowers was shot once at a convenience store and gas station. He was then taken to Augusta University Medical Center where he was pronounced dead. The shooting happened this morning off of Wheeless Road, off of Milledgeville Road. This was Augusta's second shooting in just 24 hours. At least 6 patrol cars were on scene at the corner store, gas station, and convenience store when our crew was on scene. We also have new images of the Knights Inn shooting victim. The Richmond County Sheriff's Office says 26-year-old Rinquel Geeter from Eastover was shot once and then later pronounced dead on the scene. On the 21st, Richmond County arrested 22-year-old Jaquari Allen. He's been charged with murder and possession of a firearm. More charges could still come his way. Mind-blowing accusations out of Washington, D.C. today on failures at the U.S. Penitentiary in Atlanta. Witness testimony paints a picture of a federal prison out of control. Led by Senator John Ossoff, the Senate Permanent Subcommittee on Investigations heard from 3 whistleblowers talking about corruption, abuse, and misconduct during their stay.
You go to Atlanta and you per se rock the boat, or you don't go along with the Atlanta way, then it can ruin your career.
In many cases, I believe they chose to take no action because it was far more difficult to take action than to look the other way.
Next at 5:30, we have the full breakdown of witness testimony and much more on these shocking allegations. A new ruling says Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene can run for re-election. All of this comes after voters said she played a role in the January 6th attacks. She was therefore ineligible because she engaged in insurrection or rebellion. That was the charge, but the judge found insufficient evidence to back those claims. New information says a Colonial Pipeline company has submitted a new number raising the estimated amount of oil that was released in a 2020 spill in Mecklenburg County. The spill was discovered in a suburban nature preserve near Charlotte, North Carolina, but Colonial has now determined the spill began 18 days before it was found, dumping 30 times the original estimate into the ground. The pipeline is now ordered to pay $5 million in penalties and investigative costs, according to Energy Wire. The Federal Trade Commission says scammers might take advantage of people looking for remote jobs. The FTC says it's seeing more fake job postings using the real names of real companies. Leaders say the phony posts entice job seekers with promises to pay for you to set up a home office. And now fraudulent jobs, those are getting harder to spot.
Changing just something slight in the email address, or they're creating a fake profile on LinkedIn.
And it's easy to get duped. The FTC says you should never send money to a potential employer and never deposit a check from someone you do not know. Time is ticking for kids heading back to school, and later this week on the 31st, the Hawk Law Group and Allison South Marketing Group will host their Fit for School event. Parents can grab free school supplies and haircuts for their kids. It starts at 10 a.m. and ends at 1 p.m. at the James Brown Arena. And there are several other drives coming up. This isn't the only one. This Friday, Augusta Cares Back to School giveaway will be at the May Park Community Center. That's set to start at 11 in the morning and it runs till 1 in the afternoon. Later in Grovetown, Inspired Connections will have a youth workshop. That's set to start at 6:30. For the full list of events, we've done the homework for you. You can also have a link to sign up for the workshops as well. We've got all of that on WRDW.com. Still to come, a Georgia family heartbroken after possible discrimination at the airport. We explain in just a moment. Riley?
Well, temperatures have been running near average the past couple of afternoons, but we're getting above average for the rest of the work week. Have an update on the forecast just after the break.
Time.
Some breaking news to pass along. A man has been charged after a deadly shooting in Orangeburg Monday night. Sheriff Leroy Ravenel says 46-year-old Andre Green has been charged with several charges, including murder. Investigators were called to Kimberlin Road just before 6 o'clock last night. And when they got there, they say they found the 14-year-old dead. They say they also found Green's 40-year-old wife, who was also shot. We are working to learn her condition. U.S. basketball star Brittany Griner was back in a rush.
In a rush, as she said, packing, and this medication, she just forgot to take it out of her luggage.
The two-time Olympic champion and Phoenix Mercury star is set to testify Wednesday. We now know the name of the man who was killed last week after a tree fell on him in DeKalb County. This is Abamil Ortiz, the victim in this tragedy. He passed away over the weekend after being taken to the ER. His family describes him as a loving person who loved to cook and just enjoyed the presence of family and friends, as well as someone who was very active in their church. A sad story there, but you can see how weather can turn. We had some soldiers on Fort Gordon killed, or one soldier rather killed from a lightning strike, that man killed by a tree limb. So weather definitely can cause a lot of problems. Thankfully, no problems out there today.
And really even Friday, just not expecting much storms to be popping up. But by the weekend, a cold front's going to be getting close to us. Best chance for rain Saturday or Sunday, mainly areas north of I-20. Those temperatures are going to stay hot, though, in the mid-90s.
All right, thanks for that, Riley. A family in Georgia says their vacation was ruined. They say Alaska Airlines refused to let them board a plane because of their son's disability. It happened Saturday at Hartsfield-Jackson International, and now the airline is attempting to make it right. Zach Summers explains.
We were ready. Had everything ready.
Tamara and Jeff Miller should be on vacation right now with their 11-year-old son, Gabe. However, the family wasn't allowed to board their Alaska Airlines flight on Saturday, a decision the Millers say the airline made because of their son's disability.
I've always worried that Gabe would face discrimination sometime in his life. But I didn't think it was going to be this bad, this in our face.
Gabe was born with a rare genetic disorder, limiting his speech and intellectual abilities.
Cognitively, he's about a 3-year-old.
The Millers say their son was excited about getting on the plane and was vocalizing quite loudly. The family was made to wait at the door of the plane as other passengers boarded. What happened next left them speechless.
The supervisor said that the captain said if he's this bad on the ground, he's going to be 10 times worse in the air.
So they wouldn't let
They wouldn't
let us board.
The Millers say not once did the captain or flight crew ask them why Gabe was making noises.
Nobody ever came to talk to us, to ask us how we interpret what he is doing.
Alaska Airlines offered the family 100,000 bonus miles and said an internal review is underway.
Oh, absolutely wrong.
The Millers likely won't do business with the airline again, but they say change needs to happen.
Something needs to change in their training and their communication to their employees on how to handle and to accommodate people with disabilities.
The Live By Camera